All right, and welcome back. In today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to frame out a wall. I had lots of ideas for things we could show you, how to build a tool shed, how to build a chicken coop, how to put out an addition on your house. But instead of doing all that, we're just going to give you some of the basic skills for how to frame out a wall. We're not doing it full scale, of course, because I have no need to build a full scale room in my driveway, and lumber is a little expensive these days. So we've got some scrap lumber that's left over from other projects, and we're going to put together a mock-up of a little room. We're going to show you how to do some basic framing so that you're only limited by your imagination. All right, so after we get our basic layout down, we have to cut all of our lumber to size. All right, I like to make all my cuts first so that I have everything cut, and then I can go right to assembling. Make your measurements. We always measure twice, cut once. All right, when we're framing out walls, the standard is we put a stud every 16 inches. You have a few different things on a wall that you need to know about. This is called the header. This is called the sole plate, and these are studs. All right, again, these are just basic studs. We don't have king studs or anything like that to frame out a door. So I like to get all of my nails started before I go. It's a lot easier to work that way. And so in order to do that, you need to have your header and your sole plate cut out, and then mark where your studs are going to go along with this, either the header or the sole plate. Again, studs go every 16 inches. If you don't know your times table, it's okay. There's a reason they put red dots on the tape measure, because that's where your studs go. So you just put a little line right there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start our nails. All right, we got all of our lines spaced out at 16 inches. And gentlemen, again, you're working by yourself. You don't have three hands. Make your life easy. Get your nails started so that you're not trying to hold a nail, swing a hammer at an odd angle, and trying to hold together the two pieces you're trying to attach. Get everything started on a flat surface while you have a chance. This first one's always a pain, especially if you're working by yourself. We got all of our nails started. We got everything lined up. You want to get that first stud in to get yourself started. We got that first one in. Now we just go right down the line, putting our studs in every 16 inches. Again, I cannot stress enough, keep everything square, keep everything plumb, keep everything level. A lot of methods you can do. You can take a piece of board that's 14.5 inches long and use that as a block to line yourself up with your next stud. All right, remember 14.5 inches, 16-inch spacing. A 2x4 is actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. 16 minus 1.5 inches is 14.5. That's where we come up with that. If you don't have that, you can simply use a carpenter's square. Keep everything nice and square, right? Line up that stud with your next one. Make sure your edges are lined up, and away you go. All right, we've got our sole plate on. We've got our header mostly on. Gentlemen, when you have one nail in, you still have a chance to make some adjustment if you need to. Once that second one nails down, it's in. It's not moving. All right, good time to check that you're square, that you're level, that you're plumb. My driveway's not too level, so we're doing the best we can, but I do come and I check this one, and I see, hey, bubble don't lie. The more level you are, the more square you are, the more true you are right now, the easier your job's gonna be going forward. All right, we flip our wall up. You're probably not going to do this with a full-scale 8-foot tall wall, but you get a friend to help you lift it up, and it looks like our room is coming together. We tacked it over in a corner right here. Remember, when we put in one nail, we still have a little bit of room. Once that second nail goes down, it's in, okay? We want to make sure our corner of the room is square. We have our carpenter square. We make sure that that's all lined up. If we don't have a square, I'm going to teach you a little trick. Remember back in trigonometry class, or geometry class, you talked about Pythagorean theorem. And you said, when am I ever going to use this, right? I'm going to show you where you're going to use it. Remember that 3, 4, 5 triangle? I'm going to come 3 inches on this one. I'm going to measure from the same point. I'm going to go 4 inches right there. And if those two marks have 5 inches in between them, your room is square. When you're attaching the stud wall to your floor, you don't want to nail into the subfloor. That's not going to do you any good. You want to make sure your nails are going into floor joists. You want to make sure they're into some meat. The only difference, if you're putting a party wall inside an existing structure, you're going to want to make sure that this header is also nailed or screwed into the ceiling joists above. All right, so as you can see, we have our stud walls up and our room is starting to take shape. If you're doing just a tool shed or a chicken coop or something like that, this is probably good enough. You can finish your room and start going in with your ceiling or your roof. If this was something that human beings were actually going to occupy, an actual room in your house with a full 8-foot ceiling, about halfway up you're going to want to put a block in there, and you're going to want to nail or screw this little block about 4 foot off the floor, just to keep these studs as sturdy as can possibly be. So there you have it. Now you know how to frame out a room, and again, you're only limited by your imagination.